Second year doing this or third? I forget.
I think third.
Third year judging, all right? So she must enjoy it because she keeps coming back. Kerry Baldwin, who used to work here, but then she left us for much more money at Ridgefield High School. She's coming here. She's done this like 4 years. Probably every year. Right? And I have to go to Ridgefield and judge her score. It's all like sort of like that. We have the accuracy judge today. There's an accuracy score that the students that come up will hand. So you need to know who your real friend is up here, right? And this is Leah Begg, so she's going to be accuracy today. All right, you can just wave and they can see you. So the students will hand her the poem and then she will just follow along. And if they need a line or if they need a prompt, she will give it to them. She's like the best friend. Right. Then we're moving over to Erin in quotes. So that's Tracy James. She's a Newtownian. So she lives right here. We also have a new judge this year, right? We have Stephanie, and I'm going to say Schwartz, right? Stephanie Schwartz, and you work here now, right? And I did teach one of her daughters fabulous, and she's now in college, right? Probably 2 years in college, 1 year. Dementia. So we have brand new judge, which is excellent. We like to mix it up so we don't have the same people every year. In fact, we have 2 new judges really this year. And then Robin Sampson, who's a big poetry fan. She runs the sort of the longest running poetry event in Connecticut's history on Wednesday nights. It's Connecticut's Wednesday night poetry series. Right, which is actually not running right now. For a month, they're taking a break. But it is usually it's usually running on a Wednesday, and that's right here in Newtown too, right? So we're ready for this. We're going to thank the tech team, Larry, the hardest working guy on the planet, and his crew. All right, you ready yet? Is there anything else? I need to there are teachers here that work with all of these students. You know, I can point them out. We have Dr. Toby, Michelle Toby right here. We have Abby, Mark, Patty, I can't see any other people here, just, I don't know, they're here, myself. And that's what it's about. So I'm not going to say any more. You're going to see, I'm going to call them up one by one. They'll do their thing. Obviously, please turn off your cell phones. Take a look now to make sure they're off. One of them went off last time in the competition. That person is hated. So, and it was actually one of the poets. It was their phone, so mine went off once too, but I just blamed it on Michelle. So make sure that's off, and then please make sure you just, everyone gets applauded. It's not an easy thing to come up here and do this, and everyone gets a big applause, and then as long as when they're doing the poem, you just remain completely silent. All right? Okay, so the first judges, you ready? You guys ready? Yeah? All right, cool. So the first poet, and it will change in the second round, but the first poet for round one is Gabriella Palaya. Hold on, we've got to turn one phone off. Because you know it's going to ring.
Stop, I have to.
I know, it's long up there, right? There you go. Save. All right, once again, Gabriella Palaya.
I'm Gabriella Palaya, and I'll be reciting these poems, she said, by Robert Bringhurst. These poems, she said, are poems with no love in them. These are the poems of a man who would leave his wife and child because they made noise in his study. These are the poems of a man who would murder his mother to claim the inheritance. These are the poems of a man, like Plato, she said, meaning something which I did not comprehend, but which nevertheless offended me. These are the poems of a man who would rather sleep with himself than with women, she said. These are the poems of a man with eyes like a draw knife, with hands like a pickpocket's hands, woven of water and logic and hunger, with no strand of love in them. These poems are as heartless as bird songs, as unmeant as elm leaves, which, if they love only the wide blue sky and the air and the idea of elm leaves. Self-love is an ending, she said, and not a beginning. Love means love of the things sung, not of the song or the singing. These poems, she said. You are, he said. You That is not love, she said rightly.
Hughes.
I'm going to be reciting The Death of Alidor by Billy Collins. I'm wondering what became of all those tall abstractions that used to pose robed and statuesque in paintings and parade about on the pages of the Renaissance, displaying their capital letters like license plates. Truth, cantering on a powerful horse, chastity eyes downcast, fluttering with veils. Each one was marble come to life, a thought in a coat, courtesy bowing with one hand always extended. Villany sharpening an instrument behind a wall, reason with her crown, and constancy alert behind a helm. They are all retired now, consigned to a Florida for tropes. Justice is there, standing by an open refrigerator. Valor lies in bed, listening to the rain. Even death has nothing to do but mend his cloak and hood. And all their props are locked away in a warehouse. Hourglasses, globes, blindfolds, and shackles. Even if you called them back, there are no places left for them to go. No garden of mirth or bower of bliss. The valley of forgiveness is lined with condominiums, and chainsaws are howling in the forest of despair. Here on the table near the window is a vase of peonies, and next to it, black binoculars and a money clip. Exactly the kind of things we now prefer. Objects that sit quietly on a line in lower case. Themselves in nothing more. A wheelbarrow, an empty mailbox, a razor blade resting in a glass ashtray. As for the others, the great ideas on horseback and the long-haired virtues in embroidered gowns, it looks as though they have traveled down that road you see on the final page of storybooks. The one that winds up a green hillside and disappears into an unseen valley, where everyone must be fast asleep.
So we're now going to welcome John Mudgett. John.
This is I'm Learning to Abandon the World by Linda Paston. I am learning to abandon the world before it can abandon me. Already I've given up the moon and snow, closing my shades against the claims of white. And the world has taken my father, my friends. I've given up melodic lines of hills, moving to a flat, tuneless landscape. And every night I give my body up limb by limb, working upward across bone towards the heart. But morning comes with small reprieves of coffee and bird song. A tree outside the window, which was simply shadow moments ago, takes back its branches twig by leafy twig. And as I take my body back, the sun lays its warm muzzle on my lap, as if to make amends.
So now we're going to welcome Sonia Stanzik.
Monet refuses the operation by Lisa Mueller. Doctor, You say there are no halos around the streetlights in Paris. And what I see is an aberration caused by old age, an affliction. I tell you, it has taken me all my life to arrive at the vision of gas lamps as angels, to soften and blur and finally banish the edges you regret I don't see, to learn that the line I call the horizon does not exist, and sky and water so long apart are the same state of being. 54 years before I could see, ruined cathedral is built of parallel shafts of sun. And now you want to restore my useful errors? Fixed notions of top and bottom, the illusion of three-dimensional space, wisteria separate from the bridge it covers. What can I say to convince you? The houses of Parliament dissolve night after night to become the fluid dream of the Thames. I will not return to a universe of objects that don't know each other, as if islands were not the lost children of one great continent. The world is flux, and light becomes what it touches, becomes water, lilies on water. Above and below water becomes lilac and mauve and yellow and white and cerulean lamps, small fists passing sunlight so quickly to one another that it would take long streaming hair inside my brush to catch it, to paint the speed of light. Our weighted shapes, these verticals, burn to mix with air and changes our bones, skin, clothes, to gases. Doctor, if only you could see how heaven pulls earth into its arms and how infinitely the heart expands to claim this world. Blue vapor without end.
All right, so we're now welcome Kate Bartell.
Woo!
This is called Ego, and it's by Denise Duhamel. I just didn't get it, even with the teacher holding an orange, the earth in one hand, and a lemon, the moon in the other. Her favorite student, the sun, standing behind her with a flashlight. I just couldn't grasp it. This whole citrus universe, these bumpy planets revolving so slowly no one could even see themselves moving. I used to think, if I could only concentrate hard enough, I could be the one person to feel what no one else could. Sense a small tug from the ground, a sky shift, the earth changing gears. Even though I was only one mini speck on a speck, even though I was merely one pinprick and a goosebump on the orange, I was sure then I was the most specially perceptive, perceptively sensitive. I was sure that my mother was the only mother to snap, the world doesn't revolve around you. The earth was fragile and mostly water, just the way the orange was mostly water if you peeled it, just the way I was mostly water if you peeled me. Looking back on that third grade science demonstration, I can understand why some people gave up on fame, or religion, or cures, especially people who have an understanding of the excruciating crawl of the world, who have a well-developed sense of spatial reasoning and the tininess that it is to be one of us, but not me. Even now, I wouldn't mind being God, the force who spins the planets the way I spin a globe, a basketball, a yo-yo. I wouldn't mind being that teacher who chooses the fruit, or that favorite kid who gives the moon its glow. Thanks.
So welcome Erin Begg.
I'll be performing Famous by Naomi Shihab Nye. The river is famous to the fish. The loud voice is famous to silence, which knew it would inherit the earth before anybody said so. The cat, sleeping on the fence, is famous to the birds, watching him from the birdhouse. The tear is famous, briefly, to the cheek. The idea you carry close to your bosom is famous to your bosom. The boot is famous to the earth. More famous than the dress shoe, which is famous only to floors. The bent photograph is famous to the one who carries it, and not at all famous to the one who is pictured. I want to be famous to shuffling men who smile while crossing streets, sticky children in grocery lines. Famous is the one who smiled back. I want to be famous in the way a pulley is famous, or a buttonhole. Not because it did anything spectacular, but because it never forgot what it could do. Thank you.
So we're going to welcome Laura Hunter.
Okay, we'll be reciting Their Bodies by David Wagoner. To the students of anatomy at Indiana University. That gaunt, old man came first, his hair as white as your scored tables. Maybe you'll recollect him by the scars of steel mill burns on the backs of his hands, on the nape of his neck, on his arms and sinewy legs, and her by the enduring innocence of her face, as open to all of you in death as it would have been in life. She would memorize your names and ages and pastimes and hometowns if she could, but she can't now. So remember her. They believed in doctors, listened to their advice, and followed it faithfully. You should treat them one last time as they would have treated you. They had been kind to others all their lives and believed in being useful. Remember, somewhere their son is trying hard to believe that you'll learn as much as possible from them as he did. You will do your best to learn politely and truly. They gave away the gift of those useful bodies against his wish. They have their own way of doing everything, always. If you're not certain which ones are theirs, be gentle to everybody.
You should pay attention to
So we're going to invite Cameron Harding.
No Moon Floods the Memory of That Night by Etheridge Knight. No moon floods the memory of that night. Only the rain. I remember the cold rain against our faces and mixing with your tears. Only the rain. I remember the cold rain in your mouth, soft and warm. No moon, no stars, no jagged pane of lightning, only my impotent tongue. And the red rage within my brain, knowing that the chilling rain was our forever. Even as I tried to explain, a revolutionary is a doomed man, with no certainties but love and history. But our children must grow up with certainties, and they will make the revolution. By example, we must show the way so plain that our children can go neither right nor left, but straight to freedom. No, you said. And you left. No moon floods the memory of that night. Only the rain. I remember the cold rain and praying that like the rain returns to the sky, you would return to me again.
So we're going to invite Michelle Spanida.
I'm going to be reciting Poor Angels by Edward Hirsch. At this hour, the soul floats weightlessly through the city streets, speechless and invisible, astonished by the smoky blend of grays and gold seeping out of the air, the dark halftones of dusk suddenly filling the urban sky while the body sits listlessly by the window, sullen and heavy, too exhausted to move, too weary to stand up or to lie down. At this hour, the soul is like a yellow wing slipping through the treetops, a little ecstatic cloud hovering over the sidewalk, calling out to the approaching night, "Amaze me, amaze me!" While the body sits glumly by the window, sings the clear summons of the dead, transparent as glass, clairvoyant as crystal. Some nights it is almost ready to join them. Oh, this is a strange, unlikely tethering, a furious grafting between the quick and the slow, when the soul flies up and the body sinks down, and all night, locked in that same cramped room, they go on quarreling, stubbornly threatening to leave each other, wordlessly filling the air with a low, internal burning. How long can this bewildering marriage last? At midnight, the soul dreams of a small fire of stars flaming on the other side of the sky. But the body stares into an empty night sheen, a hollow-eyed darkness. Poor, luckless angels, feverish old loves, don't separate yet. Let what rises live with what descends.
Welcome, Patrick.
Author's Prayer by Ilya Kaminsky. If I speak for the dead, I must leave this animal of my body. I must write the same poem over and over, for an empty page is the white flag of their surrender. If I speak for them, I must walk on the edge of myself. I must live as a blind man who runs through rooms without touching the furniture. Yes, I live. I can cross the streets asking, What year is it? I can dance in my sleep and laugh in front of the mirror. Even sleep is a prayer, Lord. I will praise your madness, and in a language not mine, speak of music that wakes us, music in which we move. For whatever I say is a kind of petition, and the darkest days must I praise.
We're going to welcome Georgia Contral.
Isla by Virgil Suarez. In Los Angeles, I grew up watching the Three Stooges, The Little Rascals, Speed Racer, and the Godzilla movies. Those my mother called Los Monstruos. And though I didn't yet speak English, I understood why such a creature would, upon being woken up from its centuries-long slumber, rise and destroy Tokyo's buildings, cars, and people. I understood by the age of 12 what it meant to be unwanted, exiled, how you move from one country to another where nobody wants you, nobody knows you. And I sat in front of the TV, transfixed by the snow fizz on our old black and white, and when Godzilla bellows his eardrum-crushing growl, I screamed back this victory holler from one so rejected and cursed to another. When the monster whipped its tail and destroyed, I threw a pillow across my room. Each time my mother stormed into the room and asked me what I thought I was doing, throwing things at the walls. Ese monstruo, esa isla, she'd say, that monster, that island. And I knew she wasn't talking about the movie. She meant her country, mine, that island in the Caribbean we left behind, itself a reptile-looking mass on each map. On my globe, a crocodile-like creature, rising again, eating us so completely.
And the final part of round one is going to be Craig Frigon.
I will be reciting Silence by Thomas Hood. There is a silence where hath been no sound. There is a silence where no sound may be. In the cold grave, under the deep, deep sea, or in the wide desert, where no life is found, which hath been mute, and still must sleep profound. No voice is hushed, no life treads silently, but clouds and cloudy shadows wander free, that never spoke over the idle ground. But in green ruins, in the desolate walls of antique palaces, where man hath been, though the dun fox or wild hyenas call, and owls that flit continually between, shriek to the echo and the low winds moan. There the true silence is, self-conscious and alone.
All right, so without further ado, we're going to do the second round. Big round of applause for the first round. Their names out of a hat in the second round, so it's how the cards fell. So Laura Hunter is going to go first. Laura Hunter.
I'll be reciting Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast, on the tranquil bay. Come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray, where the sea meets the moon-blanched land. Listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles, which the waves draw back and fling at their return. Up the high strings, begin and cease, and then again begin, with tremulous cadence slow, and bring the ethereal tone of sadness in. Sophocles, long ago, heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbulent ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in that sound a thought. Hearing it like this distant northern sea. The sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. But now I only hear its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. Ah, love, let us be true to one another. For the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are as on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night.
So we're going to welcome Kate Bartell.
This is called Deliberate by Amy Uematsu. So by 16, we move in packs. Wait, can I start over?
Yes, stop.
Okay. So by 16, we move in packs, in deliberate, low-down rhythm, talking a syncopated beat because we want so bad to be cool, never to be mistaken for white, even when we leave these rowdier LA streets. Remember how we paint our eyes like gangsters, flash our legs in nylons, sassy black high heels, or 2-inch zippered boots. Stack them by the door at night, next to Daddy's muddy gardening shoes.
So welcome Kelsey Hughes. Kelsey.
I will be reciting Israfel by Edgar Allan Poe. And the angel Israfel, whose heartstrings are a lute, and who has the sweetest voice of all God's creatures. Quran. In heaven a spirit doth dwell, whose heartstrings are lute. none sing so wildly well as the angel Israfel. And the giddy stars, so legends tell, ceasing their hymns, attend the spell of his voice, all meet. Tottering above in her highest noon, the enamored moon blushes with love, while to listen the red levin, with the rapid Pleiads even, which were 7, pauses in heaven. And they say, the starry choir and the other listening things, that Israfeli's fire is owing to that lyre by which he sits and sings, the trembling living wire of those unusual strings. But the skies that angel trod, where deep thoughts are a duty, where love's a grown-up God, where the houri glances are imbued with all the beauty which we worship in a star. Therefore thou art not wrong, Israfeli, who despisest an unimpassioned song. To thee the laurels belong, best bard because the wisest, merrily live and long. The ecstasies above with thy burning measure suit, thy grief, thy joy, thy hate, thy love, with the fervour of thy lute. Will may the stars be mute. Yes, heaven is thine, but this is a world of sweets and sounds. Our flowers are merely flowers, and the shadow of thy perfect bliss is the sunshine of ours. If I could dwell where Israfel hath dwelt, and he were I, he might not sing so wildly well a mortal melody, while a bolder note than this might swell from my lyre within the sky.
So welcome Erin Bay.
I'll be performing It Couldn't Be Done by Edgar Albert Guest. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he, with a chuckle, replied that maybe it couldn't. But he would be one who wouldn't say so till he'd tried. So he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that." At least, no one ever has done it. But he took off his coat, and he took off his hat. And the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you, one by one, the dangers that wait to assail you. So just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just starting to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. Thank you.
So we're going to welcome John Mudgett.
This is Broken Promises by David Kirby. I have met them in dark alleys, limping and one-armed. I have seen them playing cards under a single light bulb and tried to join in, but they refused me rudely, knowing I would only let them win. I have seen them in the foyers of theaters, coming back late from the interval, long after the others have taken their seats. And in deserted shopping malls late at night, peering at things they can never buy. This morning, I caught one. Small and stupid, too slow to get away. It was only a promise I had made to myself once and then forgot. But it screamed and kicked at me and ran to join the others who looked at me with a reproach in their long, sad faces. When I drew near them, they scurried away, even though they will sleep in my yard tonight. I hate them for their ingratitude. I have kept countless promises as dead now as Shakespeare's children. You bastards, I scream, you have to love me. I gave you life.
Welcome Cam Harmony.
It would be neat if with the New Year by Jimmy Santiago Baca. For Miguel. It would be neat if with the new year I could leave my loneliness behind with the old year. My leathery loneliness, an old pair of work boots, my dog vigorously head shakes back and forth in its jaws, chews on for hours every day in my front yard. Rain, sun, snow, or wind. In bare feet, pondering my poem, I'd look out my window and see that dirty pair of boots in the yard. But my happiness depends so much on wearing those boots. At the end of my day, while I'm in a chair listening to a Mexican corrido, I stare at my boots, appreciating all the wrong roads we've taken, all the drug and whiskey houses we visited, and as the Mexican singer wails his pain, I smile at my boots, understanding every note in his voice. And strangers, when they see how my boots rock back and forth on my feet, keeping beat to the song, see how my boots are scuffed, tooth-marked, worn-soled. I keep wearing them because they fit so good and I need them, especially when I love so hard, where I go up those boulder-strewn trails where flowers crack rocks in their defiant love for the light. Thank you.
So we're going to welcome back Craig.
Yeah, Craig.
This poem is called Layabout by John Brown. Do nothing, and everything will be done. That's what Mr. Lao Tzu said 2,500 years ago. Can I start over?
Yeah, start over.
Do nothing, and everything will be done. That's what Mr. Lao Tzu said. He walked around talking 2,500 years ago. And now his books practically grow on trees. They're so popular. And if he were alive today, beautiful women would rush up to him like waves lapping at the shores of his wisdom. That's the way it is, I guess. Humbling. But if I could just unclench my fists, empty out my eyes, turn my mind into a prayer flag for the wind to play with, we could be brothers. Him, the older one, who's seen and not done it all, and me, still unlearning. Both of us slung low in our hammocks, our hats tipped forward, hands folded neatly, like bamboo huts above our hearts.
All right, welcome back, Patrick Malone.
The Great Blue Heron by Carolyn Kaiser. As I wandered on the beach, I saw the heron standing sunk in the tattered wings he wore as a hunchback's coat. Shadow without a shadow hung on invisible wires from the top of the canvas day. What scissors cut him out? Superimposed on a poster of summer by the strand of a long-decayed resort, poised in the dusty light some 15 summers ago, I wondered, an empty child. Heron, whose ghost are you? I stood on the beach alone in the sudden chill of the burn. My thought raced up the path. Pursuing it, I ran to my mother in the house and led her to the scene. The spectral bird was gone. But her quick eye saw him drifting over the highest pines on vast, unmoving wings. Could they be those Could they be those ashen things, so grounded, unwieldy, ragged, a pair of broken arms that were not made for flight? In the middle of my loss, I realized she knew, my mother knew what he was. Oh, great blue heron, now that the summer house has burned so many rockets ago, so many smokes and fires, and beach lights and water glow, reflecting pinwheel and flare. The old logs hauled away, the pines and driftwood cleared from that bare strip of shore where dozens of children play. Now there was only you, heavy upon my eye. Why have you followed me here, heavy and far away? You have stood there patiently for 15 summers and snows, denser than my repose, bleaker than any dream, waiting upon the day when, like gray smoke of vapor floating into the sky, a handful of paper ashes, my mother would drift away.
Thank you. Welcome back, Georgia Comptoir.
Discrimination by Kenneth Rex Roth. I don't mind the human race. I've got pretty used to them in these past 25 years. I don't mind if they sit next to me on streetcars or eat in the same restaurants, if it's not at the same table. However, I don't approve of a woman I respect dancing with one of them. I have tried asking them to my home without success. I shouldn't care to see my own sister marry one. Even if she loved him, think of the children. Their art is interesting, but certainly barbarous. I'm sure if given a chance, they'd kill us all in our beds. And you must admit, they smell.
So welcome back, Gabriella Palaio.
I will be reciting The Tiger by William Blake. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the course of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What hand dare seize that fire. And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hands and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, dread grasp, dare its deadly terrors grasp? When the stars threw down its spears and watered heaven with its tears, did he smile his works to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the force of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
So we're going to welcome Sonia Stanzik.
I Carry Your Heart With Me, I Carry It In by E.E. Cummings. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful, you are my world, my true. And it's you, or whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing, is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart.
And the final poet of round 2 is going to be Michelle Spanida.
This is The Blues Don't Change by Al Young. And I was born with you, wasn't I, blues? Wound with you, wounded, reared, and forwarded from address to address, stamped, stomped, and returned to sender by nobody else but you. Blue rider, writing me off every chance you got. You mean, old, grudgeful-hearted, table-turning demon, you. You sexy, soul-sucking gem. Blue diamond in the rough you are forever. You can't be outfoxed. Don't care how they cut and smuggle and shine you on. You're like a shadow, too dumb and stubborn and necessary to let them turn you into what you ain't, with color or theory or powder or paint. That's how you can stay in style without sticking and not getting stuck. You know how to sting where I can't scratch, and you move from frying pan to skillet the same way you move people to go to wiggling their bodies, juggling their limbs, loosening that goose, upping their voices, opening their pores, rolling their hips and lips. They can shake their bodies, but they can't shake you.
I was like, pick a touch.
So one more round of applause for the poet. To do the math and figure it out, and then we're going to tell you who's going to be this year's, representative for Newtown High School at the state. So don't go anywhere, all right? Christy,
Don't touch that
So if you can all take, actually let's just bring all the poets up here. All of you guys, come on up. So while they're sort of arranging themselves up here, this is one of the first, we were all chatting over here, this is one of the first years I think when we didn't have like somebody that were like, oh my god, this one was so amazing, this one was, there were so many amazing poets that it was really hard. We have to thank the one person will go to states. The state final is on March 21st, and it's at Southern Connecticut University in New Haven. They're going to represent Newtown. There'll be probably, I don't know, last time there were like 30 schools, 35 schools represented. It's a really, really good day, and it's free. You should go. Mark it on your calendars, March 21st. I'll put it on the blog too here at the school. Only, unfortunately, the worst part of it is only one person, well, two people. There's the ultimate winner has to represent the school, and then we have the alternate, the person that does all of the stuff with the person and go. And we have the alternate has actually recited before they had to do it. So there'll be two people going to the state final. I've got to stop talking. You just want to. I'm just going to tell you, we're going to go 3-2 and then the winner, right? And it's always about the poetry. It's never about the points. Really, it's not about the points, this whole event. It's really about what you just saw. So, all right, so in third place this year was Cam Harmeling. In second place, so we could do a drum roll or a foot. In second place was Erin Begg. This year's winner is Kelsey Hughes.